All right, welcome to another video from the chart reader. So today we are going to look at the weed industry, and we've actually added 3 new tickers because of user requests. So I say it often, if you ever want me to add anything new, do not hesitate to ask, and the list just keeps getting longer, right? So we're going to do the same thing we always do, right? We'll look at the daily and the weekly to see what's setting up. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our as our lower indicator. Excuse me. Again, 80% of the work is up here. This is the last 20, just if needed, right? It's all about breaking the lines. I promise you that. So the last time I made this video, it's actually been a few weeks. So I was talking about a swing trade that I made in this basic couple days. It really only took a couple days, but I made very nice double-digit returns on that, right? After this, look, it loses the 8, okay? And my basic rule number 1 is unless you're over the 8, I'm really not going to touch that stock, right? So there has been zero moments where it seemed like I might consider a move in, right? Just because you're over the 8 doesn't mean I'm going to buy it, right? There are a couple moments here. There's other factors, but simple rule 1 is if you can't get over our first line, the 8 moving average, my hard-earned money is going somewhere else, right? And that's all we saw. Here is an important moment, right? And I talk about it often. Breaking 2 lines up is really difficult. Breaking 2 lines down is also difficult. And this should have been a bounce point back up to at least keep us in the channel, right? Instead, what happened? Well, I'm going to zoom in. That was actually a good view. All this horizontal trading just fell and has lost. And honestly, it looks really bad. Now, RSI is 8, okay? I think one of the lowest we've seen on these videos is maybe 9. So hey, maybe this line right here is going to act as a bounce point and it'll maybe make a little move up to the 8 moving average. I just sincerely don't believe this is getting over the 8 anytime soon. And I don't know if you saw my major market video yesterday, but the markets look bad, and when the markets look bad, weed generally does horribly. So there's a lot of reason to be worried here, and I promise you the last thing you want to ask is how worse can it get, okay? Coming into the weekly, again, look, we've now lost the 3 moving averages we worked so hard to gain, right? And look, this 280 line, I got to zoom out. Is this all-time lows? Oh, man. Okay, so if we lose, and really all-time lows is a little bit lower. It's 270, right? If we lose 280, you're dropping into all-time lows. And if you've seen enough of my videos, I just keep stressing the last place you want your hard-earned money is all-time lows, because once you go into all-time lows, all you really do is keep going deeper and deeper in that black hole, okay? Tilray, if and again, there's a doji literally right on the line, and you know I always say it, doji, the next day matters, okay? Next day is going to let you know what's about to happen. In all honesty, I think it's going to be one of 2 extremes. It's either going to do a fake bounce up to come up to the 8, I just don't think it'll break it, or we're going to lose 280 and probably 270 in a single day, and we're going to start going into all-time lows. So I'm telling you, Tilray, a lot of reason to be worried. And this one's number 1 on the list for a reason, right? So it really has me worried across the rest. ACB, pretty much the same thing, right? Horizontal, horizontal, horizontal. I always say it. You either break up and fly or you fall down and die, right? And that's just what happened here. So we've lost the cluster. We're now going down. Are we at all-time lows? I'll zoom out on the weekly, make it a little easier. Oh man, we are at all-time lows. So again, this actually has come into all-time lows on the weekly. There's no green candle to save us. On the daily, again, I can maybe make a line right here. I can maybe make a line right here. I'm just going to kind of keep this. And look, we're dropping lower into all-time lows. And again, you've seen it on other videos, right? Once the cluster loses, the 8 and the 20 start to come down together so just evil. I don't even know what to say it, right? And there becomes points where I don't even care about the 8 anymore. You got to get over the 20 before I'm going to put my money into it, right? So ACB, a lot like Tilly, right? I'm going to go back to Tilly. It just looks like the green and the orange are about to come down. This one's not as hardcore yet, but there's going to be a point where I'm going to stop caring about the 8 on Tilray, and you got to break the 20 before I come in. In all sincerity, this industry really needs some federalization laws or rules or news or rumors or whatever. But I know Schumer, I think that's the dude's name. He just said that, hey, we failed, but we'll try again in 23. That's a little devastating, right? That kind of makes it seem like momentum's a little over on that news. But yeah, ACB on the daily looks bad. On the weekly, the exact same thing, right? Tilray at least got a lot closer to the 50, but nonetheless, this thing's well below all of them and just going deeper and deeper into all-time lows. MACD isn't even that bad yet, right? So you'll see the MACD is going to cross green under. We're going to have the red come up. And then, yeah, there's still plenty more to lose on the weekly. How low is the RSI? This one's already at 6. Damn. Again, I thought the 8 we previously saw was the lowest. But again, I'm telling you, this thing can literally stay horizontal at 6. I know it seems like this is really oversold, but when you go in all-time lows and in a bad market situation, things are never oversold. People are literally dying to get their stocks turned into money because every day it's going to go down. And I'm telling you, things are looking ugly. So, yeah, you know I'm not here to be a fearmonger, right? That's not my game, but this does not look good. This is now the 3rd stock, the exact same thing, right? I don't even have to say that much. This one's at 8. You can just see, right? There was that little pop with Tilray that I made the swing on. Since then, not a single fake out moment over the 8, right? I mean, I'm telling you, this is really bad for the sector. Same exact 3 lines set up and fail, right? This one got just like Tilray. I'm not going to go back to it. I know you know it, but came all the way to the 50, just couldn't break it, and then a hard fail, right? So, and just look at this, okay? 50 moving average at one point was 28 million. Volume, and you can even just see it here, it never even came close to just hitting the average, right? Volume has dropped so hard that it went from 20 million down to, what is that, 15-ish, give or take? Yeah, we just lost 20%, right? 25%. 5, 10, 15, 20, yeah, 25% volume, right? That's not good. When people don't want to put their money in a stock, the stock goes down. Because again, what's my golden rule of trading number 2? Hey, volume is king. And no stock is good enough to win without volume. I promise you that, okay? Apple, Amazon, whatever it is, if no one's buying it, it's worth nothing, okay? And again, long term, things are going to survive, okay? You know that, I know that, the market always wins. I'm talking immediate future. And look, this is a weekly chart. I feel like if I come to the monthly, let's just go to the monthly on the last couple, right? This is just testing and failing the 8 right here, right? Let's go to Tilly. What does Tilly look like? Again, just tried to crack the 8 in the monthly, but getting a hard read. I mean, this is screaming months of pain still, because I need 2 months of confirmation. I need 1 good month and then a confirmation month just to even believe the monthly is starting to improve. So nothing is really going to get me feeling long-term sustainable until at least February. And again, between now and February, there might be some good ups and downs, right? But again, you've seen it. This thing has had months of ugly. Couple months up and you can make some silly money, right? But months of ugly is actually what this thing is used to, right? So I'm telling you, there's a lot of reason to be worried across. And look, we're going to talk about HEXO. So HEXO, I got to reset my lines. This bad boy was at 17 cents for the longest time, right? I'm going to zoom out just to see it. There was a reverse split since I made the videos. Look, all my lines are down. Oh, that's weird. Oh, wow, that is weird. Interesting. Okay, all my super low lines, I don't think I can go low enough to see the lines down there. I think that's what's happening. Sorry about that. Nonetheless, I'm going to delete all the... How do I do this? Drawings, there we go. Delete lines. Sorry. So HEXO did a reverse split, okay? And I mean, I've said it so many times, right? A reverse split you run away from like the plague, okay? Reverse splits help no one. All it does is fake the number go up, and then what will it do? It will naturally go back down to just around where it reverse split from. And I'm telling you, this thing will go from dollars to cents again, right? So well under the 8, not a single positive day. Look, at some point, this is going to be the sexiest gap fill up. Because I've said it, right? Red eventually turns into green, right? I sincerely know it. I sincerely believe it. However, if you think it's going to happen soon, I mean, it just seems a little foolish because, again, we're now 4 stocks in. All of them are doing this exact same thing where it loses the cluster and drops down. HEXO, honestly, I don't even think I would touch if it got over the 8. This one would need to get over the 20 for me, especially because it just did a reverse split, right? Look, CEI had a silly run from the reverse split, but again, it horribly failed right after, right? So reverse splits, you run like the plague. If they do a split without the word reverse in the front, oh, you bring the truck and you dump your money into that thing. A split is beautiful. A split is good. A reverse split is the plague. Okay? Okay. So again, HEXO, look, over the last 1, 2, 3 weeks, there's been 1 day of more buying than selling. And all of that, the only ones that have been above average have been the ugly dump off. And again, this emphasizes what I said not long ago. Volume is king, okay? And if you can crack the 50-day average, okay, you're gonna either green, and just go whoosh, or you're gonna go red, and go from 2 to 1 in a matter of days. That's a 50% drop, right? That's because of this. So volume is king. That's why we care about the 50 average. And HEXO, my goodness, ugly weekly. And I'll be honest with you, this is what has me worried for the other weeklies that we've seen. Because really, we've probably only seen this and maybe like a little portion of this on the last weeklies. This is really realistic for all the tickers that we just passed. I promise you. So be careful, okay? You know I'm a fan of this industry. I am not here to hate. I'm just being realistic. Oh, I should draw some lines. I mean, what lines are there, right? So there's that one. And then, I mean, from there, it's just this. That's all I'm going to do. Because again, all of this is just nothing. I don't even know if there's anything on the weekly worth drawing. Yeah, there isn't, right? I'll put this, I guess, just to put it. I'm going to put it pretty much right on that doji week. But yeah, I mean, this is, I don't want to use the word pathetic, right? But HEXO, take your heart out of the stock. End of the day, this is just 4 letters. And I promise you a couple years from now, there's going to be another 3 or 4. We're about to see a 5-letter. Don't put your heart into a stock, okay? That's what makes technical analysis real good. I was on the other side. I did my fundamental, I found the stock that I thought I was so smart in picking, and I watched it all go down, and it sucks. So again, just HEXO, be careful. And HEXO, there's some reason to believe that, maybe the other one, the others might do it. So this is an interesting chart here, okay? So this is one of the new ones, right? So this is TrueLeaf. Now, again, I live in the United States. This is a Canadian ticker. So I have to use the 5 ticker over-the-counter pink stock equivalent, okay? I often say, and one of the reasons why this one wasn't on it, right, is I'm not a big fan of using technical analysis with over-the-counter. Hey, that said, LIACF has done us really well, and a couple others, right? So, just all that's just kind of grain of salt, okay? That said, hey, look, this did the horizontal drop. This one has actually dropped a lot, okay? And a big 14% day on Friday. I have no idea if this was because, or Wednesday, or was it Friday? I forgot the last day of trading was, whatever, because of the holidays, right? But nonetheless, The 23rd is what this is telling me. Thank you. So what is basically I'm looking at is the 8 moving average, right? I don't care. And again, I know it sounds silly to say after watching a 14-day pop, right? I really don't care until we get over the 8. I like the fact that the last 2 days actually were green and still over the 50. And it actually looks like, so what was the volume on this day? 788.1. 800. Cool. There was more volume the day after, so there was still incremental. I like all that, right? But that said, rule number 1 has always been get over the 8, right? And from there, when you lose a horizontal cluster, you start to consider, hey, maybe the 20 is probably worth my money. Look, if this breaks the 8, what's the 8 at? Look at how many decimals I get on this one, but some of it I can't even get more than 2. It's really silly. So if this gets over 766, okay, oh, sorry, I should not have unclicked. There's a real good chance this might swing all the way to 8, or sorry, all the way to 1050, all the way to the 20 moving average right up here, right? I'm going to draw a line right here because, hey, this might be a little bit, but again, a break from basically, what was this number again? 760 to 850, that's definitely a 10% swing right there, right? So that could be worth a play if it happens. From there, if it breaks that, again, this really is the next resistance because I just talked about it in another video. When you get a bunch of reds in a row, and again, that's nothing and that's nothing, right? So I'm going to just go ahead and just say it. When you get a bunch of reds in a row, you get a lot of fills in a row. At the minimum, look, you'll fill this set real quick. Maybe you'll stop here, then you'll fill this set real quick and maybe stop here, right? So there's a couple different ways to play this. Nothing matters to me until we get over the 8. And again, this 14-day pop is sincerely irrelevant to me. And I know that's I'm just gonna jump to it. It's the last one we're gonna do on the video. So Hydrofarm. There's a guy on StockTwits I sincerely enjoy talking with. I think it was this day because you can see how monstrous this is. This was a double-digit day, and he really enjoyed telling me that after it lost the cluster and I kind of started getting negative, right? I don't care about this day. Couldn't even get over the 50, let alone get me closer to the 8, right? And from there, you can see why. So again, I just go back to saying we were on TCNNF. Sorry, this one's a little newer to me. Just because we get a 14-day pop right here, couldn't get over the line that matters to me, right? And it's a couple cents more, right? It's literally probably just pennies more, right? We're at 58. What do we say it was? That's 67, something like that. But that 10 cents matters. That 9 cents matters, right? But again, I do like this. Hey, maybe we'll get a little RSI pop, but yeah, MACD is definitely not looking good, right? So overall, I'm still negative on this. I think there might be a little chance to get a quick swing, but there's also a really good chance that we either gap down to 725 or literally start up here, can't get it, and then fail the next day, right? Because again, I don't care, even if the next day gets over the 8, right? I really care about the day after. Now, again, if you're going to make the intraday trade, and you know, there's different ways of doing that, right? I'm kind of talking long sustained swings over a couple days, right? But yeah, there's a few things that need to happen for me to just believe it. And hey, a good move might even be wait for this 850 and try to ride that to 1050. Again, that's actually 20%, right? Because 80 cents, that's $1.60. We're talking about $2 right here, right? So a safer 20% trade. Hey, if you want to make it even safer, get in at 880. Go from 882 all the way again, like I said, to 1050, right? Couple different ways of playing it. Just depends on if your finger's on the mouse and what your risk tolerances are, right? Let me go to the weekly to make a couple other lines. There's a couple just natural ones right here. Yeah, perfect. That's actually all I'm going to make because then I got the 50 there and I got those in between. I'm good with that. Where are we though? Are we at all-time lows? No, there's still plenty of room. So let me make this 2. So we're close to losing that. I would not want to lose that. And then from there, we will simply make this the all-time low number. Okay, cool. right now it kind of seems like we're going to here, right, to the sevens, the low sevens. But again, there might be some intraday trading before we get there, I guess. But I would say this has been the best one out of all that we've looked at. However, this one's a pink over the stock one, over the counter one, right? So take that with a little bit of grain of salt. But again, we've made some good money on those, so I'm not necessarily scared. I'm just, oops, LF. All right, this is another new one. Again, this is a pink one, right? I'm in the US. This is a Canadian ticker, so I got to look at CURLF. Okay, again, just like TrueLeaf. Was that the last one, TrueLeaf? Oh my gosh, TC. It was, right? It was TrueLeaf. Okay, good. Just like TrueLeaf, CURLF had a nice move here. And look, we see that it not only had a nice move not that long ago, it actually closed over it, right? You can see on the top line it's 5.16, and the 8 on that day was 5.14. So this has actually had a double-digit gain that broke the 8, okay? So I go back to saying, I don't really care about this, okay? I need to get over the 8 and then the exact same things that we're talking about. And hey, look, this is new, but you can see I have lines here. I mean, Cura is one that I do look at. I'm not going to lie. So let's just delete these and make them again. I don't mind doing that. Oh, they were all right there anyways. Really, there's not even that many lines I need to make, right? I'm just going to kind of do the exact same thing. So, hey, if this breaks the 8, there might be a run to the bottom of this guy. Otherwise, there might be a run to the bottom of this guy, and that's close enough to just believe you're going to hit the 20 at that point, right? But hey, overall, am I happy here? No, not at all, right? Because it just looks like the rest. Horizontal cluster loses it. I'm seeing the 8 come down. I'm seeing the 20 come down. I like that this isn't as like dramatically sloped down, but again, I'm kind of zooming out in my head, right? Obviously, this is the furthest, but I just kind of see them both coming down based on everything we've seen. So overall, I'm worried. But hey, the 2 pink counters, the 2 pink ticket counters, wow, the 2 over-the-counter tickers is really what I wanted to say. Both have an intraday play for Tuesday. If, again, like I said, your finger's on the mouse. Otherwise, there might be a little bit of an intraday or a swing trade potential. But again, the lines are just a little too tight to feel comfortable. But hey, different risk tolerances for different people. Ugly weekly, okay? Real bad, and then just continuation and confirmations all I'm seeing. Are we at all-time lows here? We're not, but we're really not that far, man. Damn, that sucks. All right, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of reason to believe this is coming down at 3 right there. I'll make something right there. Yeah. So if we lose 370, and you can see that there was a wick in that week, right? So that 370 has kind of at least been touched, but we lose 370, 280, 270 is very realistic here. So that's really sad actually to see. I would have loved the opposite. I remember seeing this and being pretty excited. I'll be real honest with you. But yeah, that is long gone from what it looks like now. MSOS. Okay, ETF here. Man, you gotta believe if all the stocks we're looking at are bad, the ETF, that is a combination of all the stocks that we're looking at, are gonna be bad, right? And keep in mind that this one is really only, how do I say this? This one's heavy on the bigger players, right? So those 2 little ones actually weren't gonna play here, right? Because this is a multi-state. So unless you're in, now, I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to talk because I don't know the ETF distribution well enough, but I'll say this, just starting with the beginning. When all this, how many have we looked at? 2, 4, 6. We've looked at 6 tickers. When all of them seem bad, you got to believe these are going to be bad, right? And yeah, again, look, we had a nice 7% day. Do I really care? No, because we had what looked like a good one here and then a really, really hard one the day after, right? So this one has made some silly, silly moves. But again, same thing. Horizontal loss, 8 and the 20 are coming down. Really a lot of repetitiveness, which is kind of saving some time because we're getting close to 30, and you know I don't want to go that far from 30. Again, same, none of them could really get over that 50, right? Everyone really tried, but yeah, MSOS, are we at all-time lows here? Are we? We are at all-time lows. And look, you can see it. once we lost the all-time low, that's where that comes from, right? It gets black hole scary in all-time lows, and I'm telling you, it could keep going lower. The last thing you want to ask is how much lower can it go? So I'm not going to spend too much time here because, again, really a lot of what I've been saying echoes through. So CGC, this one had a nice play, right? This one was another consideration during that Tilray. Again, right after that, there hasn't been a single moment where you even consider it. Just like with Tilray, right? It had a two-line cluster. This is where it needed to bounce up, and really, it had 2 days to do it. It didn't just, it started here. It actually opened up a little bit higher, right? I mean, there were chances for it to do it, and then it loses it, and then just drops, right? So I mean, echoes across almost every single ticker that we've seen. Again, the last, what is this, 1 week, 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, nothing but selling, right? Couple sprinkles of buying. So it is definitely not looking good across this sector, right? So I got to zoom out. Are we at all-time lows? We're not, but we're not that far from them. And man, all-time lows here are real bad. And I'm telling you, the last thing you want is this thing to do a reverse split just to pretend that it's back up here again, right? So it's bad. It really is. I'm gonna put one right there. It looks like there's a gap up. And look, you definitely should zoom in to make them exact and all that. I'm not necessarily looking for to the penny perfect. I get really happy when I make them to the penny perfect. Don't get me wrong, but being in the ballpark will make or save you a lot of money. That's why I'm not necessarily zooming in on those, right? But really, from what I just drew, I shouldn't have zoomed in so quickly. I should have just discussed it. From what it looks like, we might go well below 50% on CGC, because honestly, I just feel like we're going to come to this 105. Because once we lose this 160, we're going to come here. And I don't want to say once, because obviously a lot needs to happen, but oh man, it seems bad, And hey, just as I zoomed out, it looked like volume was rising. It just now kind of, in my opinion, I believe that it's just going to come back down, right? Because you can see there was a nice move up to the 50. And I think once it fails the 50, this is going to kind of come back towards that 33 million 50 average. So again, volume's king, right? When it's up, people want to buy. When it's down, people don't even want to touch it. And that's what makes things a lot worse. So, man, again, on the daily, this one's 7. A lot of low RSIs. And look, the low RSI generally means it's oversold and it's going to want to go back up a little bit. But hey, it could really horizontal down here if it's literally just no one wants to touch it. So don't expect it just because it's down here to at least go back up to 30 or whatever. I'm telling you. It almost seems like this red line is what it's going to kind of dance with, right? It might come up to 19, give or take, but I think crossing this red line is going to be just as hard as crossing the green or one of these ones, right? So, yeah. CRON, again, CRON we say often looks like CGC. And yeah, I would say it actually does look like CGC. I think if I zoomed in a little more here, this is what it is, right? So CGC, again, horizontal drop, CRON a little bit tighter, but horizontal, and it looks like the drop is just about to start actually. So man, just again, I don't have to say it, right? You can see the 8 coming down. Remember on CURLF when I was saying, hey, I'm glad that it looked like the 8 wasn't going dramatically down. This one looks like it's going dramatically down. The 20 looks like it's going dramatically down, right? That has me scared. CRON, are we at all-time lows? We're not. But hey, look, it seems like 209 isn't that far. If we lose 209, I'm not going to draw it, but yeah, I mean, I'll draw it, I guess, whatever. 168, 170, followed by basically $1, right? So CRON, again, I'm not here to hate. I'm not here to fearmonger or any of that. These are just my opinions. And hey, if you disagree with anything, throw it in the chat, right? I'd love to know that I'm wrong and save some money, right? So yeah, Sandal, ugly. This look beautiful, right? And then, like I said, if it can't get over the 8, don't get too excited. All right, so yeah, there's really not too much to talk about, right? And again, as you zoom in, exact same thing, horizontal, try to fake up, drops down, right? So, and all this was when people really thought that safe was gonna banking laws and all that, right? So that's the exact same swoosh that we saw on Tilray, on KRON, and all of them, right? So no new lines need to be added, it looks like. All I'm really doing on all of these is coming to the weekly, zooming out to see if we're at all-time lows. This one is not that far. Sandal, be careful. 140 seems realistic. If 140 is lost, it will get real ugly and it'll just start going into the pennies, I'm telling you. Yeah, so be careful with Sandal. Again, I know this one's memeish. I know this one gets volume, but when the markets are bad, individual tickers don't do well. Green lane, green lane, green lane. Again, all we really cared about was this gap fill. I kept saying it. If it happens, ride it. If not, this thing is not worth even just looking at. And this is why, right? Because again, I'm just going to zoom out on the weekly. All-time lows, all-time lows, all-time lows, all-time lows. Horrible. How much worse can it get? How much worse can it get? How much worse can it get? Oh, it can't actually get that much worse. Right? That's what I keep saying, and I'm promising you it's not just it's real. There are 31 more cents this thing can lose. I'm not here to imply that it's going to go to zero, but there's still a lot of room for this thing to go down, right? So take your heart out of a stock. This is nothing more than 4 letters, I promise you, okay? This looks bad. This is what I believe all the other ones are going to start to do, right? And really, I don't even care if this thing gets over the 8. I care about the 20, right? But one more time, red will eventually turn to green. But I just don't see it anytime soon, right? This horrible drop will eventually turn to a money rise, okay? Just no time soon, right? So just be realistic about expectations and the timing of them, okay? So this is another new one, and this actually is on NASDAQ, which makes you a little bit happier, right? So Ugrow. So really, this actually had a pretty nice, a more stable up climb. I don't think Tilly... Yeah, well, I guess it was. I wouldn't say that. But yeah, this one this one had a drop before the real big pop, right? That's kind of what I remembered. Ugrow actually kept it pretty good. Okay, first things first. That is horrible volume, okay? That is horrible volume. One more time. The average is roughly 50K. The minimum I gave you on my golden rule was 3 million, right? So you know that just volume is king. This is really low volume. And I'm going to go to the minute real quick. Look how bad this minute chart is, okay? What does this tell me? No one for minutes, all right, almost for hours are even moving this. And all that's really happening is one person's making a quick buy. One person's making a quick sell. One person selling, one person selling. You know what I mean? So this is not sustained trading. This one, though it's on the NASDAQ, I mean, like I said, I'd never heard of this one. I don't think a lot of people have heard of this one. And it is definitely on the super low side. So I don't have too much I can say, and I'm not even going to make that many horizontals, right? At the minimum, look, this thing still does really well when it's over the 8. This thing does really horribly when it's under the 8, right? So I would really at least just use the 8 and go from there. But this cluster right here is going to be really hard to break, so getting over 4 will be real difficult. And then let me just go to the weekly. Where are we in terms of, oh man, yeah. So let me I'll make a couple lines. So look, the weekly, no one was even touching. At least it's getting a little more sustained trading in a weekly view. But long, I mean, as you go shorter term, no one's really touching this thing. Oh man, okay, this can get real ugly. Because this really can, again, you know I don't use wicks that often, right? But this might come to 123, right? And if you lose 123, it looks like this is coming to 30s. So Ugrow needs to grow immediately. Otherwise, this thing is going to plummet. So be careful for sure. I'll lower this just to make it a little, like, let me use the biggest of the candles. I'll use that guy. Okay, I used that guy right there, the third. A lot of reason to believe Ugrow is actually the worst one on this ticker. GRWG. Damn, we 35 minutes. Sorry, I try not to go that long. Again, look, this one flew hard. This, and like I said, right? Green, 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 green. Again, horizontal, whatever green, 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 green will eventually turn to red, 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 right? And you can see it. It's a lot quicker, actually, right? So again, this red, 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 red will eventually turn to green, 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 green. But you can believe being under all 5 moving averages is not a good place. You know I'm already thinking this is coming here. You know I'm going to the weekly to see how low we are. We're close to all-time. No, we're not, but we're a lot of reason to believe we're going to it, right? So I'm putting it down there. I really see 171 being pretty realistic. Yeah, 217. Is there another line worth drawing? I'll put one more. I'll put one right there. Yeah, cool. That hit the top of that one. All right. Again, we're at 4 something, and I'm drawing these low to mid $2 to $1, right? So really, this, again, if I'm right, there's 75% of your money to be lost if you're in here, right? And we've talked about it. The 200 is either the moneymaker because it's the last one, or it's a devastating fail and it gets real ugly. So, oh my goodness, RSI in the 3. Damn. Woo! Those 6s that we saw still had 50% to lose on the RSI. Keep that in mind. HYFM last on the list. Hey, if you're still here, thank you so much. Again, right, I highlighted this one. I don't care about 14 double-digit pops, whatever, right? Get over these lines. That's what I care about, right? And again, this looks good on this day. What day was it? It looked really cool on the 8th. That's a well-distant memory by the 23rd of the same month, right? So that's what we're here for. I want to buy when it breaks and goes up, up, up. I otherwise just completely avoid when it goes down, right? Easier said than done, I know, but hey, you've seen enough of these videos to where we've been able to, you know, knock on wood, get some right. This is not financial advice, obviously. And look, we are dropping into all-time lows on the weekly already, let alone on the daily, right? So yeah, ugly, 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 ugly. Hey, I sincerely hope you're learning. Thank you so much. I'm trying to make more videos often. Have a great one.